Welcome everyone. Now I am going to discuss about the topics rotational spectroscopy of rigid diatomic molecules and preparation of nanoparticles by Sol-Gel method. Before going to discuss about the first topic, rotational spectroscopy of rigid diatomic molecules, firstly you have to know about the some of the basics which is regarding to spectroscopy. Spectroscopy is a branch of science which deals with the interaction of matter with light or electromagnetic radiation. In this, the matter can be atoms, molecules or ions. Electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation is a form of energy which has both electrical and magnetic characteristics. James Clerk Maxwell developed a unified theory about electromagnetism. The study of electromagnetism which deals about the how electrically charged particles interact with each other here. The study of electromagnetism deals with how electrically charged particles interact with each other and magnetic fields. Now we have to know about the spectrum. A spectrum is a graph or plot of intensity of absorbed or emitted radiation by sample versus frequency or wavelength. Suppose if you are drawn a graph, here we have to consider the intensity of absorbed or emitted radiation along with versus wavelength or frequency. Here spectrometer. Spectrometer means which can be used to measure the presence of particle of particular compound or particle in a matter. In the next one, how the electromagnetic radiation interacts with the matter. The effect of electromagnetic radiation on interaction with matter depends on energy associated with the radiation. Some example, very energetic radiations that are the UV and X-rays. If the molecule absorbed UV or X-rays radiation, the molecule undergoes to the transitions. In case of the molecule is absorbed by the radiation in the region of infrared region, the spectrum, that means the infrared region, have a less energy when compared to UV and X-rays. Here the UV and X-rays have a very high energy when compared to infrared region. So that's why in this radiation absorbed by a molecule, the molecule can get transitions. If the molecule absorbed by an infrared region, the molecules can get vibrations in the molecules. If the molecule is absorbed the microwave radiation, the molecules cannot give the transitions and along with the vibrations. That means the microwave radiation is less energetic than infrared radiation. It can neither induce electronic transitions in molecules or nor it can cause vibrations. It can cause only for the molecules to rotate. If a molecule absorbs a ultraviolet or visible radiation, the molecule undergoes for the transitions of electronic transitions. And the case of next one, infrared region. If the molecule absorbs the radiation in the infrared region, the molecule undergoes for the molecular vibrations. And the last one, if the molecule absorbed by the radiation in the microwave region, it will be undergoes to rotate. We have several types of spectra. On those, the first one is absorption spectra, emission spectra and scattering spectra. We have to discuss about each one individually. Absorption spectroscopy. Absorption spectroscopy can be obtained by the molecule absorbed the radiation. That means in absorption spectroscopy, electromagnetic radiation is absorbed by an atom or molecule. Here, if you are consider a molecule which is present at the ground state, the molecule is absorbed by electromagnetic radiation, it will be excited to higher energetic state. It will be excited state and it will be the ground state. This molecule will be allowed to travel upward direction by the absorption of energy. So in this method, which undergoes the transitions from lower energy level to higher energy state. In this method, the absorption spectra can be obtained. And the next one, emission spectroscopy. Similarly, the molecule which is presented at the higher or excited energy state, the molecule will allowed to travel on the ground state by the emission of radiation as light. Here it was the excited state and it was the ground state. Here the spectrum will be formed by the emission of the molecule as in the form of light. The atoms or molecules that are excited to higher energy levels can decay to lower level emitting the radiation. Here first the molecule should absorb the energy and it will be travel toward to the excited state, then it is allowed to fall down by the emission of radiation. In this method, the emission spectroscopy can be obtained. And the next one, scattering spectroscopy. Scattering spectroscopy means it can measure the physical properties, measuring the light of amount, that means the how much of light is the substance scattered at a certain wavelength is described about the scattering spectroscopy. One of the most useful applications of the light scattering spectroscopy is the Raman spectroscopy. Here we have to know about the various terms which we are used to understand the spectroscopy. We have the frequency. The frequency means the number of waves produced in a second. That our frequency is measured in hertz. And the second one, wavelength. Wavelength means the distance between the two successive waves. It is measured in meters. And the third one, amplitude. It is the maximum distance a wave extends beyond its middle position. Suppose for example, if you are considering a wave, it is a waveform. The number of waves produced in each second is describes about the frequency. And the next one, wavelength, the distance between the two successive waves. It is describes about the lambda. And the next one about the lambda. Okay, this is about the various terms which we have to know about to understand the spectroscopy. The next one, electromagnetic spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum, the range starts from the short wavelengths gamma rays to very long wavelength radio waves. In the between those regions, there is a visible region with the range of 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers. Here we have a electromagnetic spectrum. In this electromagnetic spectrum, there are gamma rays. The electromagnetic spectrum starts with the gamma rays. Here the wavelength is very low when compared to radio waves. Here gamma rays, it has lower wavelength. So that's why the increased wavelength is from left to right. Here we have the frequency is high and as well as energy is also high. That means frequency is high means the one cycle can complete in a shorter time. So in case of radio waves, it has high wavelength, low frequency, and low energy. In between the ultraviolet and infrared region, there is a visible region with the range of 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers, which describe, we can easily remember the regions by the VIBGYOR. The starting color, it has a violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. This is the visible region with the range of 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers. The electromagnetic radiation starts with gamma rays with the highest wavelength, lowest frequency and lower energy, and ends with the highest wavelength of radio waves with have a low frequency and low energy. Low frequency means one cycle have to take much time to complete the cycle. Okay. This is about electromagnetic radiation. Now, rotational spectroscopy. What is rotational spectroscopy? Rotational spectroscopy is the study of transitions between the rotational energy levels in the molecule. Absorption of radiation in the microwave region, they can form the rotational spectroscopy. That's why this was spectroscopy was known as microwave spectroscopy. Here, the transitions between the rotational energy levels in the molecule in the region of microwave. So that's why the spectroscopy is also known as microwave spectroscopy. Here, in the range of electromagnetic radiation in terms of wavelength, the microwave region in terms of wavelength, the 1 centimeter to 100 micrometers. In terms of wave number, the range of microwave radiation is the 1 to 100 centimeter inverse. In terms of frequency, 3 into 10 to the power of 10 to 3 into 10 to the power of 12 Hz. In terms of energy, 10 to 1000 joules per moles. The rotational spectroscopy is the study of the transition between the rotational energy levels in the molecule. The spectrum will be formed by the absorption of radiation in the microwave region. Then it is allowed to transitions between the rotational energy levels and it will be formed the spectrum. That why this spectroscopy is also known as microwave spectroscopy. And the next one, the rotational spectroscopy is only really practical in gas phase. That means we can get the rotational spectra clearly in the form of gaseous phase. It is not possible to in case of solids and liquids because there is a internal quenched or hindered collisions are there. Here rotational motions is usually quenched or hindered due to the collisions internally between their molecules. That's why you can't get the clear rotational spectra which is regarding to solids and liquids. We can get the clear spectra in case of gas phase molecules. And the next one, our question is, will all molecules shows rotational spectroscopy? The answer is no. All the molecules can't show rotational spectra. There is a essential condition to form the rotational spectroscopy. That essential condition was the molecule must have a permanent dipole moment. The molecules which have the permanent moment, they can generate electricity field during its rotation, and this rotation can be interact with the microwave radiation. Here the molecules must have a permanent dipole moment. The permanent dipole moment when there is occurs a separation of charges. Separation of charges means if you are considering a water molecule, there is a positive ions, the H plus are the positive, and I have a electronegative atom, that is the oxygen. The sharing of electrons by atoms in a molecule is unequally, there is a cause rise which is the separation of charges, then will be able to create the dipole. Here only the molecules which have the permanent dipole moment, they can generate electric field during its rotation which can interact with the microwave radiation. Here the dipole moment occur when there is a separation of charges. Suppose when an atom in a molecule shares electrons unequally, there occurs a separation of charges and creates a dipole moment. Here we have heteronuclear diatomic molecules and homonuclear diatomic molecules. The heteronuclear diatomic molecules are microwave active. For example, HCl, H2O, HBr, CO, NO, etc. They can form the spectroscopy. Here, homonuclear diatomic molecules, examples are H2, Cl2, N2 and O2. These are the microwave inactive. These molecules cannot show the microwave spectroscopy or rotational spectroscopy due to they don't have the permanent dipole moment. Now, the rotational spectroscopy of rigid diatomic molecules. A diatomic molecule may be considered as a rigid rotator, consists of atomic masses m1 and m2, which is connected by a rigid bond length. We have to consider the two mass bodies with m1 and m2. These two mass bodies are the rigid bodies. Rigid rotator means the internuclear distance does not change during its rotation. It will be treated as m1 and m2. The internuclear distance is r. Here there is a center of gravity c. The distance between the center of gravity to mass body m1, that is the r1. And the next one, from the center of gravity to mass body m2. This will be r2 treated as. Now can equilibrium bond length. Equilibrium bond length or internuclear distance r can be write as like r equal to r1 plus r2. Here we can write the expression for the r1 equal to r minus r2, as similarly r2 equal to r minus r1. The center of gravity is given by m1 r1 equal to m2 r2. The moment of inertia of a rigid diatomic molecule is given by I equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square. It will be the equation number 1 and the equation number 2 and equation number 3. Substitute the r1 and r2 values in equation number 2 individually. m1 r1 equal to m2 r2. Now we are substituting the r1 value. m1 r1 r minus r2 equal to m2 r2. Here m1r minus m1 r2 and m2. Gathering the r2 terms, m1 r equal to m2 r2 minus plus m1 r2. There is a common term r2, m1 plus m2 into r2. Now r2 equal to m1 r by m1 plus m2. By substituting the r1 value in the equation number 2, we will get the r2 value. Similarly, you can substitute the r2 value. r2 means r minus r1. m1 r1 equal to m2r minus m2 r1. There is a r1 terms. m1 r1 plus m2 r1 equal to m2 r. There is a common term r1. You can write the expression for the r1. r1 equal to m2 r by m1 plus m2. Now substituting the r1 and r2 values in our moment of inertia, equation number 3. I equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square. I is equal to m1 into r1 means m2r by m1 plus m2 whole square plus m2 into r2 means m1r by m1 plus m2 m1 plus m2 whole square m1 into m2 square r square plus m2 m1 square r square. Here there is a common terms m1 m2 r square, m1 m2 r square, m2 plus m1 by m1 plus m2 whole square. I equal to m1 m2 r square by m1 plus m2. These terms will be treated as like a mu m1 m2 by m1 plus m2, where mu is the reduced mass. I equal to mu r square. There is a equation for the moment of inertia is the I equal to mu r, where mu is the reduced mass, which expressed for m1 m2 by m1 plus m2, where r is the equilibrium bond length. Now the angular momentum of the rigid diatomic molecule is given by L equal to I omega, where the angular momentum is quantized and it is given by L equal to square root of j into j plus 1 into h by 2 pi. There is a classical expression for energy is given by is j equal to half I omega square, where is I is the moment of inertia and omega is the angular velocity. Here of I omega square into I by we can write like that. Here of I omega whole square by I, where I omega is the L. Is j equal to half L square by I, 1 by 2 I L square. We have a L value, that is square root of j into j plus 1 into h by 2 pi. Substitute the L value in the equation. Is j equal to square root of j into j plus 1 into h by 2 pi whole square by 2 I. Is j equal to j into j plus 1 into h square by 8 pi square I. Here there is a energy for the rotational quantum number h square by 8 pi square I into j plus 1 joules. Here the units are joules. We can write the expression in terms of wave number, that is epsilon j equal to Ej by hc, where c is the velocity of light, h is the Planck constant, Ej is the rotational energy. H square by 8 pi square I into hc. So h by 8 pi square IC into j plus 1 to j plus 1. Eight pi square IC j into j plus 1 centimeters inverse in terms of wave number, expression for the in terms of wave numbers. Here this term will be treated as like a B, j into j plus 1 centimeters inverse, where B is the rotational constant, where B is rotational constant. Here the obtained equations are Ej equal to h square by 8 pi square I j into j plus 1 joules. Next, in terms of energy, epsilon equal to h by 8 pi square I c j into j plus 1 centimeters inverse. Why? Because this whole term will be treated as like a B, j into j plus 1 centimeters inverse. If j equal to 0, the entire energy will be 0. In case if j equal to 0, that means there is no molecule rotation at all takes place. If the epsilon j is equal to 1, the energy is B into 1 to 1 plus 1 centimeter inverse, that is the 2B centimeter inverse. If j is equal to 2, B into 2 plus 1 centimeter inverse, that is the 3 into 2, 6B centimeters inverse. J equal to 3, B into 3 plus 1 centimeter inverse 4 3 12 b centimeters inverse. Here there is a transition energy levels J equal to 0, then energy will be 0. J equal to 1, there is a 2b centimeters inverse. The J equal to 2, 6b centimeter inverse. The J equal to 3, 12b centimeters inverse. So as like this, the rotational spectroscopy, the transition will be occur. Here we have to discuss about the selection rules of the rotational spectroscopy of rigid diatomic molecule. Expression for the rigid diatomic molecule of rotational spectroscopy here derived. Next, selection rules for the rotational transitions. There is a essential condition to molecule to show the rotational spectroscopy is the molecule must have a permanent dipole moment. We already discussed it in the before points. The permanent dipole moment means there occurs a separation of charges takes place. Only those molecules can form the rotational spectroscopy, and there is a quantum mechanical selection rules, that is when those rotational transitions are allowed for which J equal to plus or minus 1 and all the other transitions are forbidden. That means if the molecule, suppose for example we are consider a 100 molecules are present there. If I consider a J equal to 0 and J equal to 1 and J equal to 2 and J equal to 3. These are the rotational transition levels. I consider a molecule which is present at the ground state. All these are the excited state where J equal to 1, J equal to 2, J equal to 3. If the molecule, the incident electromagnetic radiation incident on the our ground state molecule, the molecule will absorb energy and it is allowed to travel the upward directions. That means the excited state directions. All those molecules which are present in our spectra, there is no need to travel as like a same. If suppose the molecule will be undergoes to the transition from J equal to 0 to 1 or J equal to 0 to 2 or J equal to 0 to 3. All these transitions are not allowed. The transition means del J equal to plus or minus 1. That means the transitions in between the energy levels, it should be 1 unit. That means either maybe if you are considering another molecule which is present at a J equal to 2 a transition state, if the energy is absorbed, we have to consider another. Where energy is absorbed by the external electromagnetic radiation, it may allowed to travel from the excited state, that is a J equal to 4, or it may be travel by the emission of energy to the ground state. Here the transition difference is the del J equal to 2. Here the del J equal to minus 2. These are not allowed transitions. For example, del J equal to plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5 or del J equal to -2, -3, -4, -5. All those are come under forbidden transitions. Only the +1 or -1 absorption or emission will be considered as a allowed transitions. So that's why only those rotational transitions are allowed for J equal to +or-1. All other transitions are forbidden. The rotational energy levels. We are consider epsilon J equal to B into J into J plus 1. It is the required equation which we are obtained for the derived of rotational spectroscopy of rigid diatomic molecule. If J equal to 0, epsilon J is equal to 0. That means there is no rotation at all of the molecule. If J equal to 1, is J equal to, we will get the 2b centimeter inverse. J equal to 2, we can get the 6b, and if J equal to 3, we can get the 12b centimeter inverse. All allowed rotational energy levels for a rigid diatomic molecule, the spectrum will be like this. And the next one, if you are considering transition in between the jth level to J plus 1 level, J plus 1 to jth level, there is a difference between the two energy transitions. B equal to J plus 1 into J plus 2 minus B into J plus 1 centimeters. There is a common term, B into J plus 1, B into J plus 1. B into J plus 1 is a common term. Here J plus 2 minus 1. Here we can get the 2B equal to J into 2B into J plus 1 centimeters inverse. For equation, there is a transition from the ground state to first state, that is the 2B. Here J equal to 0 to J equal to 1. Here J equal to 1 to J equal to 2, 4B. J equal to 2 to J equal to 3. Here you get the 6B. Here the separation in between the each level is same. So lines in a pure rotational spectrums are equally spaced by 2B. Here our first topic is completed. This was the salt shell method. It was a conventional industrial method to synthesize the nanoparticles with the different chemical compositions. As the salt shell method. By using the salt shell method, we can prepare the nanoparticles. The nanoparticles means there is a small particles which have the dimensions in between the 1 to 100 nanometers. We can prepare these nanomaterials by using the salt shell method. This salt shell method can be prepared in the two approaches. So the first one is the that means the nanoparticles can be obtained by two approaches. The first one is the top down approach and the second one is bottom up approach. Now a salt shell method is prepared by bottom up approach, top down approach and bottom down approach. In the top down approach method, initially we are consider the bulk material, then it will be converted to nanoparticles. In this method, macro material substance will be converted into micro level material with the dimensions in between the 1 to 100 nanometers. In the bottom up approach method, micro substance are converted into, involves to conversion in the macro particles whose the dimensions in between the 1 to 100 nanometers. We will show the both in the same diagram. We will consider the bulk material which is bulk in nature. That will be converted into a powder by using the separate technique methods you can use it. by cutting, etching, grinding. Those methods you can use to convert the bulk material into powder. Here we can get the nanoparticles. This was known as top-down approach. Initially, we can consider atoms, and it will be converted into clusters. These will be converted into nanoparticles, which has the dimensions in between the 1 to 100 nanometers. Both approaches are in the same diagram. This method will be describes about the bottom up approach. In the top down approach method, we are initially considering a bulk material. It will be converted into a powder material. It will be again converted into nanoparticles, the whose dimension in between the 1 to nanometers between the nanomaterial particles dimension should be in the range of 1 to 100 nanometers. Then they will be converted as a nanoparticles. And the second one is bottom up approach method. Initially we are considering atomic size particles. It will be converted into the clusters. These clusters will be converted into nanoparticles. This is the method, bottom approach method. In this Sol-Gel method, we are followed the bottom approach method because in this method we can get the uniformly formed nanomaterial. We can obtain or homogeneous materials also we can obtain by using the bottom approach method. To prepare the nanoparticles, initially we have to consider the precursor. Precursor means which are the starting material of the reaction which undergoes change. We have to consider precursor. On hydrolysis, the sol will be formed. The sol on condensation, gel will be formed. The gel means we have to dry the gel in the several methods by obtaining the nanoparticles. Initially, you are considering a beaker and it contains a precursor. Here, the precursor is the metal alkoxide. In this method, we are preparing the metal oxides. Initially, we are considering the metal oxide as a precursor. Precursor is the starting material of the reaction which undergoes change. It should be, that means the precursor should be dissolved in our water, but the metal oxide should not be completely dissociation takes place in our water. So that's why the precursor powder is allowed to transfer into another beaker which contains the alcohol. The precursor is completely dissolved into our alcohol solution. To that we are adding water molecule. Here the three substances or three components are present. The first one is metal alkoxide, which is our precursor, and the second one alcohol, which is used for to facilitate the dissolution process, and the third one the water. And the next one on hydrolysis. Hydrolysis means the reaction of the substance with molecule with water. The reaction of the substance with molecule is known as hydrolysis process. In this metal alkoxide, or which on react with the water molecule will forms the metal hydroxides are formed. Here metal hydroxide will be formed. It will be known as salt. It is a homogeneous solution because the precursor is completely dissolved in our alcohol solution. Then it is allowed to pour in a water molecule. It is a homogeneous solution, but it was a heterogeneous solution. That's why it was known as salt. What is the difference between this salt and a normal solution means? The normal solution, in that solution the solute will be 100% dissolution takes place. In that salt the condition will be not obtained. That means the solute does not completely dissociation takes place in case of salt. The metal hydroxide, it was a heterogeneous state. Why? Because the metal hydroxides are does not dissolved in our water molecule. So we have to keep the salt undisturbing conditions from hours to days. We have to keep the solution undisturbing conditions from hours to days. That means we have this process was known as aging. Aging means the duration is increases. On condensation we will get the metal oxides. Which was known as gel. In the aging process, the heterogeneous solution in the aging means the duration increases. On that process, the water molecules are get evaporated and the remaining salt molecules are get condensed each other. The gel is formed. Here, our wanted metal oxide nano-sized particles are obtained. To extract the nano-sized particles we have to dry the metal oxide shell. So for that we have three methods. First one is the supercritical condition and the second one is calcination and the third one is thermal evaporation. That means the drying process, that means remove or extract the solvent particles which is associated with our solute particles. Initially we are adding alcohol to that. To avoid that we have to dry the process is required. In these supercritical conditions the substance is subjected to temperature and pressure beyond its critical position. So in this method we can get the 100% pure nano-sized particles. Here the morphology also retained. Morphology means the size and shape of the molecule will be retained. So it was the highly preferable method for to prepare the nanoparticles, but it is economically expensive method. It was the calcination process. Calcination process means the substance is subjected to high temperature around the calcination process. Calcination process means the substance is subjected to high temperature with the presence of oxygen around 600 to 800 degrees centigrade. Here it was the highly preferable method. The morphology also retained here. Thermal evaporation method. In the thermal evaporation method, the gel is exposed to at the room temperature conditions, then we can get the nanoparticles. In the condition of zero gel, here by the supercritical position you are getting the aerogel. Here by the calcination process you can get the nanoparticles. Advantages of the salt shell method. By using the salt shell method, we can get the uniformly sized particles, can get microstructure compositions at the low temperatures also, can produce uniform multi-component system, and it is used for the better control over the reaction. Applications of nanoparticles. Due to their submicroscopic size, these are used in several areas which is related to medicine, engineering, catalyzing and environmental remediations also. This is the assignment question which is given to you. Describe about the salt shell method. And next, the quiz questions. The first quiz question is the which one of the following is the precursor in our salt shell method? Option A, the metal oxide or metal alkoxide, metals or water. And the next one, dimensions of the nanomaterial range in the 1 to 100 nanometers or 400 to 700 nanometers or 1 to 1000 nanometers or 1 to 500 nanometers. And the third one, the spectroscopy means the interaction of matter with electromagnetic radiation or molecule or sunlight or solution. Next, the rotational spectroscopy will be formed by the absorption of the following radiation. There are several radiations are there. The regions of the electromagnetic spectrum: microwave radiation, IR radiation, UV light and X-rays. And the last question, the frequency is measured in the ppm, centimeters, or hertz or joule. Thank you.